Rovers could be set to lose a key man further up the field. I'm not talking about Smodic. Who am I talking about? I'll tell you all about him next. Right, folks, back once again with another video. Today is rumours. Rumour mill is bubbling once again, and this time we're talking about our striker. That's right. Who am I talking about? We'll get into it in just a second. If you're new, where you been, smash your subscribe button. Your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers is right here under Roverseas. Sam Gallagher being linked with a move away. That's right. Who's, of course, going to put the money up for this guy? We'll talk all about it in a second. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs. They are the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, smash your subscribe, boys and girls. So let's talk a little bit about Sam Gallagher. Now, this rumour is a little bit iffy. I won't read too much into it at the moment, but I'm anticipating some hard, confirmed journalistic links to the guy at some stage, because there was interest in Sam Gallagher in January, and of course his contract is up in June, and of course we all know that Blackburn Rovers are not going to be made mugs of. They're going to activate that 1 year option. We're not going to lose money on it. We'd rather have a player of course, championship quality than not. And of course, that is my underlining feeler about this potential deal. It's a championship player, Sam Gallagher, and I think I'd rather have him than not have him, of course. But anyway, let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Now, again, the link is pretty iffy. So it's come out. I've seen a tweet out there. It's by this Lewis Everett guy. He made a video about this, and there's another couple of other tweets out there. Linking it to Derby County, of course, newly promoted, etc., etc. So there should be some. If you want to scour the internet, maybe even drop a link in the comments if you find it, linking it with Derby County. So let's talk about him. Of course, what we would lose if that deal was to happen, and of course, what Derby would gain, of course. And I also want to stress that Derby County will probably not be the only one. Sunderland have had interest, Middlesbrough had interest, in just as early as January as well. So I do think there is demand for this guy, and we should be adhering to that demand. So let's take a look at Sam Gallagher himself. Then, of course, here he is, 1.93 meters tall. He's a gigantor. Of course, his contract now expires as 2025. We look like we have activated that extension on May 18th. So any Derby fans thinking they're going to get this kid for free, think again. So Rovers have the intention to have Gallagher on their books for another season, of course. And this is the scenario we, of course, found ourselves in with Brereton Diaz, with Adam Armstrong, of course, activating those extensions, which, of course, are here to at least prevent us for being mugged off. Now, the situation, of course, despite activating that contract extension, is what do we do with it? Do we play him and just let a contract run out? Because realistically, I don't see us offering a deal that improves his contract offer. So if he wants to make more money, he's got to probably look elsewhere. And if Rovers want to kind of cut the costs a little bit, they have to, of course, trim that off a little bit. But what kind of player is Sam Gallagher? Well, he's attack-minded, centre forward, of course, on the that's his bread and butter. But he has been played all over the place, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is his stats for the season. Not great, really, when you consider him being a striker. 24 appearances, 3 goals, 3 assists. 1 yellow card. He was in the starting 11 43% of the time, 42% of the minutes, and 10% goal participation. There he is. Can play as striker, but can also play on the left and the right-hand side of the midfield, or the wing there, should we say. That's, of course, this season. However, as his career has unfolded, he has played in a few more positions as an attacking minded midfielder, also as a left midfielder as well, and these are the times that he's played those positions. Centre forward, 180 appearances as a striker, 38 goals in that role, 15 assists. Well, that is, of course, his most productive, and I just don't understand. I don't understand why he's not played as that anymore. No, football has evolved to a more less 4-4-2 to a more 4-2-3-1, or whatever you want to call it, where there's a lone guy forward or a false 9 and all this kind of nonsense. But in a traditional 4-4-2 setting, this guy should be chipping in at least 10, 15 goals this season. He's got all the features, all the statures, the mind boggles. We've had him with Mowbray, we've had him with JDT, we've now had him with Eustace. Is anyone going to see the benefits of such a frame? He's a gigantic figure, 1.93 centimeters tall. He should be chipping in with headed goals, provided the decent crosses from either side. He's got a foot on him. He can score goals. I'm just at a loss as to why we're not getting the goal return from him these days. And again, I expected when, of course, Diaz left last time around that Gallagher would take over the mantle as our main goal scorer. But maybe injuries or what have you just didn't give us that opportunity. Of course. What about Gallagher then? This is, of course, his stats over the course of time. He has played for Birmingham, Southampton, MK Dons as well in his career. He had a goodish time at Birmingham. I think we actually made the switch from Southampton, of course. And again, he is pretty much a championship player. He has played in the Premier League and has scored 1 goal in the Premier League. But, of course, you will find this kid in the championship no matter what. There is interest. There is interest, of course, with Derby County. Whether how legitimate that is, of course, a story for another day. Are we going to miss him? Well, let me talk about that in a bit more detail. Do I have anything? I do have a little bit more graphics here, of course. This is his value over time, of course, was peaked at 3.5 million, and that wasn't too long ago. Of course, since his contract has entered the final year now, it's bubbling around about 2 million. So if we are to sell, that's the kind of funds we are looking at. And these transfer market valuations are pretty decent. So let's put that into clarity. If we're going to get any money for him, it's around about 2 million. At the best hope. I don't think we can expect any more, but that's not the issue for me. I think Gallagher's a good player, decent player, and I'd keep him on the team if I had it my way. My way would, of course, be a reduction in wage. We've got to see the bigger picture here. There's no player bigger than the team. Now, Gallagher, of course, does offer a work ethic that's probably unmatched in the team at the moment. He does run his ass off up and down the pitch. He's a big unit, can play at the back, as a defensive stalwart, and he can play up front and chip in with a goal every now and again. But the wages, that's my main concern with Gallagher. I'd love him to half his wages, and then maybe a half's a bit of an insult, I think. Take a quarter off. If we were offering 12 grand or at least, definitely under 15 grand for sure, then maybe we can have a conversation. But the fact that we're paying him, he's the top earner I think he was a top earner. Now Sigurdsson might be the top earner, is quite shocking, to be honest with you, because he's not chipping in with the goals. He's not chipping in with the goals that he should be. So I think his work ethic is great, and on a normal day, on a normal season, I'd keep him on the books. But that 18, 15 grand, whatever he's on, is crazy money. We could get 2 or 3 decent caliber replacements for that kind of wage, and that's where I'm at. I'm all about depth at Blackburn Rovers at the moment. I think the quality, hopefully we have the quality within that depth. Gallagher would be a regular for us next season for sure. Would he be a regular for Derby County? I think, of course, it's a no-brainer. But I'm from reading that tweet and the following comments of that tweet, it does look that Derby had very little to spend moving forward, and they were looking more as a free transfer than anything else. So if they've got no money to spend, I don't think he'll make that switch to Derby. However, I do think there's a potential move on the horizon for Sam Gallagher, whether it's with Middlesbrough, Sunderland, of course, Ipswich were interested in when, of course, they were in the Championship, and maybe we might get fleeced by, of course, a newly promoted team by stripping us of some of our assets who are, of course, dwindling down their contracts. Again, so what are your thoughts about the potential of Sam Gallagher leaving? I'm on the fence here. I think we can reinvest those wages more sensibly with a better recruiting structure behind us, and get 2 for 1 in regards to a thing. Because if Sam Gallagher gets injured, he's out. If we had 2 players and one of those gets injured, of course we have the other one. So depth is all about my priority this next season. I don't want to be relying on too hardly on loans. as well as the youth that are not ready. I don't want to be thrusting players in that are too young to start next season. I think we need a bit more experienced heads to get us over the line, and hopefully either Gallagher is going to stay, but maybe we can have another conversation about his contract, or we get a bit of money for him and then we can reinvest. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Sam Gallagher potentially on the move. But until then, guys, we're done. Back tomorrow with another.